Rot beneath the skin. I stood at the edge of my childhood home, a place that felt as foreign to me now as a distant memory shrouded in cobwebs. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the lawn where I used to play. I could almost hear their laughter, echoing in my mind, a mocking symphony that had haunted me for years. "You'll lose your mind," they had said, their voices dripping with disdain. "It's all nonsense, delusional garbage." It was true. I had become the family disgrace, the punchline to a twisted joke. My relentless pursuit of paranormal mycology, my obsession with the sentient molds I had encountered during my pest control days, had led me away from them, into the dark folds of something far more sinister than I'd ever anticipated. Years passed, and I became known in the circles I once feared would shun me. I was no longer just Emily, the girl who saw ghosts in the mold. I was Dr. Emily Gray, a respected figure in my field, renowned for uncovering the terrifying truths that lay hidden beneath layers of ignorance. But recognition came at a price. The knowledge I carried felt like a curse, gnawing at me, whispering secrets I wished I could forget. As I stood there, a chill settled in my bones. I had come to show them, my family, my doubters, that the horrors I had faced were real, and they could no longer hide from the truth. I'd brought something with me. A remnant of my investigations, a small vial containing a glistening black spore. I could feel it tremble in my pocket, the sinister heartbeat that mirrored my own. I entered the house, the familiar smell of old wood and fading memories wrapping around me like a shroud. They were all gathered in the living room, a tableau of skepticism etched on their faces. Mom, Dad, my sister Rachel, and even my brother, who had once said he'd disown me for my foolishness. They turned as I stepped in, their expressions a mix of surprise and something deeper, fear. "Emily?" Mom's voice trembled, as if she were unsure whether I was still her daughter or a specter conjured from her nightmares. "What are you doing here?" "I've come to share my findings," I replied, my voice steady, despite the tempest of emotions swirling within me. "You need to listen." Dad scoffed, shaking his head. "We've heard enough of your crazed theories, Em. You're not going to drag us into your madness again." But I wasn't here to argue. I pulled the vial from my pocket, holding it out for them to see. The black spores writhed within, almost alive, an ethereal shimmer dancing across the surface. I could feel the familiar pull of its consciousness, an echo of the horrors I had faced alone. "Do you remember the stories?" I asked, my voice hardening. "The ones you laughed off as folklore? The curses that come from the earth? This is the proof. It's real." Rachel stepped forward, brow furrowed, but her curiosity was evident. What does it do?" "It infects," I said, my heart racing. "It burrows beneath the skin, takes root in the mind. It shows you things, horrors that twist your perception, that drive you to madness. I've seen people consumed by it. I've barely survived." "Stop it!" Mom shouted, her voice breaking. "This isn't the answer, Emily. You can't bring this into our lives." Suddenly, the temperature dropped, and a weight settled over the room, pressing down like a thick fog. I could see it in their eyes, a flicker of dread. The spores were reacting, awakening to the fear that seeped from them like a dark cloud. I had learned to harness their power, to manipulate the very essence of the mold. But now I feared what I had unleashed. A low rumble echoed from the walls, like the growl of an unseen beast. Shadows flickered in the corners of the room, shifting and distorting, almost sentient in their movements. I could feel the mold's consciousness awaken, a sinister force eager to break free. "Emily, what's happening?" my brother shouted, backing away from the encroaching darkness. Panic gripped their faces as the shadows lengthened, curling around them like tendrils. "It's the spores!" I cried out, desperation rising in my obsession had transformed me into something far greater than I ever intended. They had laughed, mocked me, and now they were facing the consequences of their disbelief. As the shadows receded, I was left standing in the wreckage of my childhood home, my family now silent, their faces twisted in expressions of sheer terror. I had shown them the truth, but it had come at a terrible cost. With a heavy heart, I stepped back into the fading light. I had returned a conqueror. But I was also a harbinger of doom, bearing the weight of their ridicule like a shroud. I left the house behind, the echoes of my family's fear lingering long after I had vanished into the dusk. As I walked away, I knew that I had finally earned my vindication. But the chilling truth clung to me, a reminder that sometimes the darkness we mock can turn out to be the very thing that binds us to our fate.